Hello taste buds, wrap up something with a crispy outside and a fluffy inside, and you know what you got? You've got delicious, and that's a falafel. Join me today as I wrap up some for you, next on SoFlo Taste. How fun is that? Welcome Taste Buds, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. Welcome to where I have home field advantage, the Goya Kitchen at JA World in Coconut Creek. Do you know what a falafel is? Well, it's not exactly a sandwich, nor is it really a classic wrap. It's not even a Hot Pocket. Yet, it's a bit like all of those things kind of mashed up together, and trust me, it is delicious. So today I thought it would be fun to give you some of my recipes for them. So let's get cooking. The first thing we're going to do is more of a delicious classic falafel recipe, if you will. We have chickpeas. So the most important thing for a good falafel is that you use raw chickpeas, not cooked chickpeas. They have to be soaked at least overnight to make really wonderful falafel because they do soften quite a bit. So you're going to soak them, drain them, and here we have them. So we'll put that in a food processor. We've got some chopped up yellow onion, some minced garlic for flavor, ground cumin, ground coriander, and I highly suggest you season it pretty well because it's really hard to season a falafel afterwards. Don't get me wrong, we'll throw a little salt on it, but if you don't have a very flavorful base to this, it will never taste as good. So I'm going with a little bit, maybe a lot of bit of ground black pepper and kosher salt. I'll tell you about the herbs in a minute. Let's just start processing this. So I'm just going to pulse. I'm not going to let it go because it can turn into what looks like hummus, and we don't want that. So when you see it all in kind of little bits, it kind of looks like you've really kind of minced up chickpeas. So that's what this looks like. Now to this, I'm going to add some wonderful herbs. Very roughly chopped mint, cilantro, and parsley, and a lot of it. So this is 2 cups, very packed herbs. And it's up to you if you just want to use parsley, that's all cool. But I think that the blend of herbs really makes this a difference. And again, I'm not going to let it just run because the bottom will turn out mush, the top will be kind of chunks. Every once in a while, grab a rubber spatula and just make sure that all of the contents inside of the processor work bowl is being combined. It already smells so good though. You can smell the spices and these herbs. And what will happen is this will actually come together in a bit of what looks to be kind of like a dough, if you will. But again, not too mushy. Oh, it's coming together. I can see it on the bottom. Now, I'm not going to add flour or baking soda to this, which a lot of people do. I just don't find it necessary. I think that if you make it right the first way, with all this good stuff in it, and just go a little bit slowly, you will get there. All right, so let's test it. And the best way really to test it is to grab a spoon and see if it really comes together in your hand. So you see how this stays, the shape of it stays together? We're ready to go. That wasn't too hard, right? I mean, honestly, the food processor does all of the work. You can use a little scooper if you want to. You can use a spoon. You can use your hands. But this is a true falafel shaper. And I love this because it really takes on the true shape of a falafel. So all you have to do is push it down right here. And you can find this at any Middle Eastern store. And again, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. And then you basically just run a knife or a flat spatula, and then it comes out beautifully and like a little disc. So I'm going to go ahead and shape a few discs, and then we will come together to fry them together and make beautiful falafel together. I'm so excited. Come right back. We have so many things to learn today.
Come back to the Goya Kitchen at JA World, Michelle, and the food. This is SoFlo Taste.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. The origin of the falafel is, as with most food beginnings, up for grabs. It probably came to us from Egypt in the 1800s with influences from India. No matter their lineage, let's make some. I have the oil on medium-low flame. I don't want it to be too hot or the outside of the falafel burns and the inside doesn't really get warm. So let's go ahead and start dropping our falafel into the oil. And they do cook quickly, so do not ever walk away. And what's gorgeous about these is that they are a little bit more herbaceous than a lot of the falafel that you might see out there. And when you bite into them, the bright green color, but also the flavor of that green, intense herbaceousness is just lovely. So let's see how they're doing. Oh, see, so they're almost done. Take a look. They're getting all nice and caramelized on the outside. They're looking really good. The one thing you want to check, obviously, you want to make one and see if it holds. So if it breaks apart completely, you probably haven't run it enough in the machine. And like I said, if it holds in your hand, it will hold in the pot. And these are just, I'm so happy with them. The smell of the cumin and the coriander is actually kind of drifting upwards, and as is the smell of the mint and the parsley. About one more minute and then we're going to jump into a new falafel. So let's put these gorgeous falafel. Always when you're frying, always have a receptacle with either a paper towel or napkin to place after they fry. And the one thing I'm so proud of, take a look at how beautiful they are, but more importantly, when you break this open, look how gorgeous that is. Isn't it delicious looking? So you can sprinkle this with just a little bit of kosher salt. So good. Okay, all right, moving on. So I'm gonna put on a glove because this recipe is pretty messy. All right, what she does, she takes a can of cooked chickpeas, which is exactly what I told you not to do in the last one, drained, cooked quinoa, scallions, some minced garlic, cauliflower that was thrown into a food processor, well, broken up a little bit, food processor, and run it so that it kind of looks like the texture of couscous. Some red crushed chili flake, cinnamon, cumin, and olive oil. Old-fashioned oats that are also have been run in a food processor, same food processor that you did the cauliflower. Don't wash it, just run the oats in it until they're nice and fine. Almost like a flour, but just a little bit more coarse. All right, so I've got chopped parsley and the oats here. Make sure you season it, again, really well. And what you're gonna wanna do is really work it. So you're gonna be mashing the chickpea into the cauliflower and flavorings so that it all becomes one. Once you've achieved that, you go ahead and you add the oats in, the parsley there, and then you mix everything up. And with about 10 more minutes of work, you get a batter that looks like this. It's a really kind of malleable, nice looking batter. She had done like a very shallow fry with it, like a sear, but honestly, I truly think that this is a lot nicer in the oven. So what we've done here is sprayed a piece of parchment inside of a cookie sheet, and I'm just gonna mold it with a little scooper, which by the way, you can use this shaped scooper for your falafel, the traditional falafel if you'd like as well. Let me just make some balls first and then we'll shape them a little bit nicer. All right, so I would just do like a little press on it, kind of like the falafel looks like, and go ahead and place them down on your parchment paper. Almost the same shape. All right, so when you come back, I'll have already sprayed these down with a little bit of cooking spray. We're gonna bake them in the oven. Hopefully they'll be beautifully brown and crispy by the time you get back. And then we can jump on some beautiful sauces. I have a tahini that is gonna make you swoon. So come right back. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste and our show all about falafel. By the way, as always, I am practicing physical distancing here in the Goya kitchen at JA World, so I'm not wearing a mask, but the crew is masked up. And roll up your sleeves and take your best shot, SoFlo.
Yes, Chef.
All right, so we are moving on. We are warming up our beautiful pita bread, and I have decided to make you one of my favorite things that I make at home, a green goddess tahini. So find the best tahini that you can. We're gonna pour some of this tahini into a food processor. I think that's good. Next, I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic that has been cooking in onion very, very, very slowly. As you can see, there is no color or almost none, and it's just soft and mushy and delicious. A little bit of salt, actually a lot of bit of salt because tahini needs salt, and the juice of a lemon because it is very rich and it needs some acid to cut through the richness. I think one big lemon is more than enough, but you can go crazy and make it a lot more acidic if you'd like. Finally, we are going to add a little bit of water. Tahini seizes up very quickly, so you're going to see that we might even need a little bit more water than that. And then finally, the herbs. Again, because we put them in our falafel, we've got the same 3 herbs going in here. So we have mint, parsley, and cilantro going into the tahini. Let's go ahead and run the food processor. So check out how thick that is. I put as much water as I had tahini, and look how incredibly thick. So you're gonna need a good amount more water. I haven't even started adding the oil yet, because we want this to really be like a drizzle, you know? So it's amazing how much water it takes. So let's take a look. Oh yeah. So this is the texture that we want. The only difference is we haven't added oil yet. Now I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of both garlic oil and regular olive oil. And that is the consistency that I am looking for. Look how pretty that is. It's beautifully green and fresh. Let's take our cauliflower falafel out of the oven. They are beautifully golden. I'm going to place them here next to my classic falafel, so we can really make sandwiches with either one or both. So I love to serve my falafel sandwiches with a little bit of Israeli salad. It's basically cucumbers, tomatoes, and onions. I'm just going to chop a little bit of mint from my own garden. It makes me very proud. So just kind of roughly chop it and add it in to the vegetables. And then a little bit of olive oil. A little bit of olive oil on my warming pita and salt. And that's about all I need. All right, so take a warm pita, go ahead and cut it in half, and open that beautiful hot pocket right up. Now let's go ahead and add a little bit of our green goddess tahini. I like to put the Israeli salad in it, and then of course fill that with some beautiful falafel, and then a little bit more green goddess, tiny bit of the salad, and a little bit of za'atar, which is a beautiful Middle Eastern spice with sesame and dried thyme. Just gorgeous. And there you have it, a beautiful falafel. Come right back because I don't think we've gotten spicy yet, so I think we should. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. We're here at JA World in Coconut Creek. For information about this wonderful place and what they do here for our kids, even during a pandemic, go to jasouthflorida.org or call 954-979-7100. Now back to the food. The last dish I wanted to make for you is a beautiful chili sauce, and it is a Yemenite chili sauce called zoug, and it is kind of like a pesto, if you will. What I find the most interesting part about all this, the spices. So, do you know what decorticated cardamom is? So this is a cardamom pod, and inside you have little seeds. And when you buy just the seeds, it's actually called decorticated cardamom. And so if you only can find the pods, it's not a big deal. You basically push down with a knife, and check this out. It opens right up and allows you to take the seeds out of there. It's not really that big of a deal. But if you can find the seeds or ground cardamom, that's perfectly fine. I just really love to toast the seeds whole like this and then pull out the decorticated cardamom, which is the seed. All right, we also have coriander seeds, we've got cumin seeds, and these are my seeds from the cardamom. I've got black pepper. We're gonna put all the seeds, and it always tastes better if you can use whole seeds, and if you wanna use just ground, all good. You don't have to do this. You can skip this part of it, but I love this part. I love grinding my own spices. There's just, you know, you can toast them, and then of course when you grind them, it's got more flavor, simply put. While I do this, let's go ahead and put the rest into the food processor. We've got minced garlic. You can use either Scotch bonnet or habanero chopped up. These obviously are seedless because I didn't want it to be too fiery, but it's really up to you how hot you want to go and what kind of chili you want to use. You can really turn this into your own zoug. I've got leaves of cilantro and parsley, Italian parsley because they have better flavor, but if you like using curly parsley, all good too. So let's take out these spices. Wow, it smells so good. And then we're gonna add those spices into the food processor. We've got ground black pepper, which I grind myself. We could have done that in here as well, but you'd need to grind that a little bit further. So you try not to mix it with other spices when you grind it. Finally, a little bit of salt, which I'm gonna use some Malden crispy, crunchy sea salt in there. I always thought when I made this the first couple of times that it should have an acid in it, like a lemon or a lime or a vinegar, but the more I taste it, the true acid is just the chili pepper, and that's all it really needs. So we're just combining this, and then eventually I'll start drizzling in the oil. When you see that everything is nicely chopped, you can turn it on and go for it. And it looks like pesto, but oh, so yummy. So there you have it. This is the zoug. So basically put this in any type of a little dish, like so. And obviously for today, we're serving it along our falafel and our pita. And it's just delicious. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make falafel, and now I hope you'll enjoy making them even more. They're easy, versatile, and darn good. Next week, whether the noodle came to us from the Far East or the Middle East, we should all be appreciative. Join me as I make oodles of noodles for you on the next SoFlo Taste. So taste buds, be smart, be safe, and be well, and I'll see you next week. And as always, Please support your local growers and restaurants. They really need it. Goodbye, good health, and good taste. Falafel my bike.